We need to get. Welcome to the Behind Them Sticks podcast, brought to you by TSWS Gaming.
Come and talk to me, Lennard Ray. Come on. Come and talk to me. I just wanna have a conversation. No, I'm not your type of baby. Listen, I'm just saying we can rule the world, just me and you. If you were playing, won't you take a chance with me and have that conversation? I just wanna have that conversation with you. Come and talk to me. I just wanna have that conversation with you. Look, see we vibing and you know it's true. Baby, what it do? Do for me and I'ma do for you. No doubt about it. Boosie, I'm a Midwest king, looking for myself a queen. Ready to chase a dream with a dope self-esteem. You find it in all I know, and that's for real. You get to shaking that ass on the floor, and I see what's real. No disrespect, I just tell it like it is. Do you ever want some kids? What your ultimate goals? Maybe I can help with those. The mo was broke when he made you a blessing. You looking like a whole buffet, and I need some seconds. You say you had promiscuous ways, that was back in the day. I'll be alive, I say I did it. That shit was a phase. So baby, take this journey with me. You can pick the time and place, this nigga isn't picky. Smile on your face, I know the deal. Sign and deliver after seal. I can see it in her eyes, this one right here for real. I just wanna have a conversation. No, I'm not your type of baby, listen, I'm just saying we can rule the world, just me and you if you go playing. Won't you take a chance with me and have that conversation? I just wanna have that conversation with you. Come and talk, yeah. I just wanna have that conversation with you. Lady, you so far ahead of these others, just like a ship on the horizon. Picking up on your vibe, signal stronger than Verizon. All the thoughts that I've been contemplating, ain't no time for faking or debating. You the one, ain't no mistaking. Look, I see your swag different. Always carry yourself like you ready, you know the mission. I had to know you, I'm tempted. I can see why you timid. Hold up now, baby, listen. Just take that dance with me, I can show you that there's a difference. I'm locked in. I throw away my playaways because you pop in. A shooter always shoot a shot. With you by my side, I guarantee we'll reach the top. I put that on God and then I'll give you all that I got. So baby, take this journey with me. You can pick the time and place, this nigga isn't picky. Smile on your face, I know the deal. Sign and deliver after seal. I can see it in her eyes, this one right here for real. I just wanna have a conversation. No, I'm not your type of baby, listen, I'm just saying we can rule the world, just me and you if you were playing. Won't you take a chance with me and have that conversation? I just wanna have that conversation with you. Come and talk, yeah. I just wanna have that conversation with you.
Let's do it.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another fantastic episode of Behind Them Sticks with your boy Ham Solo 05 Gaming on the TSWS Gaming channel on YouTube. I have a pretty fun guest today. I think we're gonna definitely get into some pretty interesting conversations. I'm definitely interested to see what her backstory is all about. But without further ado, let me introduce to you Crystal D. Smith.
What up?
How's it going with you? What's happening?
Same shit, same toilet, same day, same video games. I just hanging out, man. I don't know, just chilling on a Thursday night. Happy to talk to you.
Up. Oh man, I really appreciate you. Like I was saying before we even got here, I really appreciate the shout out on Twitter of what you thought about my show and how, you know, I talk to all different kinds of people. I don't just talk to one specific community or whatnot. I like to spread the love. By the way, what's up, Too Big in the chat? Also, Mr. Joanna Dark, I see you talking about having dinner right now. Hope you're enjoying your dinner, and I really hope you enjoyed today's show as well. But let's keep it moving real quick. I had an interesting question because I was watching one of her episodes, one of her early episodes, I think, and she was doing like a round table with beers with some folks. So I wanted to know. So this is like a personal question that has nothing to do with gaming. I want to know what 2 beers. 'Cause I think I said no. Yeah. I said or I'm just gonna go ahead and say it now. Fuck it. What 2 beers do you absolutely love? And give me a beer that you fucking hate.
I can do this. Okay, I can do this. So my 2 favorite beer, they're hard to find. Delirium Tremens, number 1. It's like the Dr. Pepper of beer. It has so many flavors in it. It's really expensive. It's hard to get. It will put you on your ass. It's like, it's not fucking around.
It sounds heavy.
It is heavy. And they have a special one they do for a couple months out of the year for Christmas time called Delirium Noel. And it's got a hint of elderberry and cherry in it, and that shit is fire. Like, it ain't fruity. Don't let it confuse you for this fruity shit. The stuff is, it's so good. It's so good. It's so fucking good.
Okay, that's one beer, or was that both of them right there?
That's 2. Yeah, that would be, if I had to pick favorites, those would be my 2 favorites.
Okay, so where are they out of? Mr. Joanna Dark in the chat said he absolutely hates Budweiser. I am within the same realm of that. I'd say I absolutely hate Busch Light, or like Busch anything, all the way down to Ice House. I hate any of that kind of stuff.
You hate Ice House?
Oh yeah, I had some Ice
It's
House.
better than Bud Light.
Oh no!
And it's cheaper and more alcohol.
It is cheaper and more alcohol. It will put you in the dirt for real. Just like Natty Ice and stuff like that. That stuff doesn't mess around. I think my all-time most hated beer is probably Natty. I forgot all about that until I just thought of it.
I don't mind Natty. I'll drink the beer that I hate. I mean, most beer, if it's what I got, I can drink it. I'm not drinking Guinness. I'm not even convinced it's beer. I'm convinced somebody went outside and used a blowtorch and just melted fucking tree bark into a cup and called it beer. Like, I'm sorry to the Guinness lovers out there. I can't get down with the Guinness, man.
Ooh. One of my favorite beers, they don't even make it anymore. It was called Hopalooya, based out of Nebraska, where I come from. So that place is brewed in a place called Cortland, Nebraska, and they sold their brew house to another business, and I think somebody else is making beer from there now. And Mr. Joanne Dark said, "Oh no, Guinness is my drink."
I'm sorry.
You let them down. Down. Oh no. But what up, Hustle and Motivate? I'm happy to see you here as well. Appreciate you, brother. But let's see. A second favorite beer of mine would. Man, I can't even answer my own damn questions. Let's see. I'd probably say, as of right now, where I stand, I would probably say Zip Line, Oatmeal Porter, which is another beer from Nebraska. So a couple of beers that you wouldn't be able to really get outside the state. But if you ever find yourself driving through the middle of the United States, stop by and get some of that beer, because they do know how to brew some beer out in Nebraska. They ain't fucking around, and that shit is heavy.
I'd try an oatmeal porter for sure.
Oh man, it's fantastic. But all right, moving back to gaming, where we should be talking about, and that's what this podcast is all about, gaming and meeting different people within the community. Let me go on ahead and ask you what you've been playing as of lately.
I kind of been flopping back and forth between games. With friends, I'm running It Takes Two. I swear to God, I'm never going to finish that fucking game. In Wonderlands, teaching my nephew how to play Kirby. And I have officially began my first Souls journey. I started playing Elden Ring this week.
Oh, let's go. Okay.
That's why if you look at me on Twitter, I might be looking a little swole, because I figured out how to fuck up some trolls and then big egg-headed motherfuckers and then the unassuming pole vault joust guys, and so I got a little swole from it.
Well, that's what's up. That's what's up. You're out there flexing on Elden Ring. That's not an easy game to play. But at the same time, it's to me, in my personal opinion, I think it's the most accessible Souls game to play that I know of, because I don't know how many Souls games where you can just hop on a horse and get the hell up out of there.
I wouldn't know. I haven't played any until now, but I'm very thankful for Torrent. That's my dude. He's gotten me out of some shit.
Yeah, Torrent's tough. He's real tough. After a little while, once you get in some of these heated battles, you're going to end up using some of your vials to heal him up as well. But anyways, that conversation's for another day. But before we go any further, I want you to let everybody know what social media and gaming platforms that they can find you on. So if they want to, they could, play a game with you or hit you up to be on, your show or their show or whatever. Go on ahead and let everybody know what that's all about.
I'm mainly on Twitter and Instagram. I believe is it even called a handle? Is that the appropriate term? Is your
Twitter
handle, your name?
Yeah.
Whatever it is. My handle for both is C Smith Shine. So it's just first initial, last name, C Smith, and then Shine. So you can find me on, I don't know what my YouTube is, but you can find a link on both of those that'll take you to the Game Junkie show.
Now, just to be clear, before I go any further and start calling you whatever, would you appreciate going by C Smith Shine or just Crystal?
Just call me Crystal, call me Chris,
Okay.
call me Doofus, whatever feels right.
Call me names. Gotcha.
Everybody else does.
All right. Yeah, cool. So that's simple. I like Crystal or Chris. I'm cool with that. Either one of those sound good enough for me.
I'm on all the platforms. I just like games, like the Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo. I just want to play.
Okay. So what console are you playing Elden Ring on right now?
PS5.
PS5. Okay. I beat it on my Series X. Fantastic. What's the DualSense like in that? I mean, I'm sure it's, your average rumble and stuff like that, but does it make any noise or do anything that the Xbox version might not? Or is it literally the same experience, rumbles even the same?
No, I'm going to be honest. For the most part, I feel like multi-plat games are definitely not as optimized for at least in my experience, what I've played. I feel like it does possibly have a little bit more that it does traditionally than the Xbox, but I don't feel like, to me personally, it's not a big difference until you get into a game like Returnal or Ratchet and Clank or like Horizon Forbidden West.
Things
I'm sure
that
God of War
supposed to use it.
Yeah, I think the exclusives right now are probably leveraging it the way it's best to be leveraged.
Because in Returnal, it's fantastic. It's fantastic in Returnal. It's a little exhausting in Horizon Forbidden West for me and Ratchet and Clank. Ratchet and Clank was probably the most exhausting because you have to squeeze the trigger two different ways to get Ratchet to shoot his gun. He has one where you can hold down to it and it'll shoot fast. Yep. And then the other one shoots slow. Yeah, it's like a half squeeze, and it's a weird balance because you can feel the trigger kind of fighting you a little bit.
Yeah.
So
see, I like that. It feels a little. I can see where you're like, this is gimmicky, but for me, I'm like, immersion. I like this. Give me more.
See, I don't know if I want to throw the shade on saying it's gimmicky, because I feel like that's kind of a word people use to disrespect it.
That's true.
But I want to say that it just works better in some games than others. It just is, to me personally. Of course, you're going to have your own opinion because you're your own person.
I think you can turn them off. I'm pretty sure
you can turn them off. Yep.
Lets you turn them off, which it's either going to be something you really like or you don't. I mean, it's cool to be there, but you don't have to. What in the hell y'all damn animals doing? I'm recording a live show and y'all back there acting like fools knocking stuff over.
Yep. They're doing their dang animalistic things. Oh. But that's kind of interesting to hear. I don't have too many third-party games on my PS5. I mostly just play the first-party stuff on it for the most part. So that's why I asked you that question, because I'm actually interested to hear what your input is on that. I did notice on Grand Theft Auto, though, on the Grand Theft Auto 5, if you play it on the PS5, your controller like lights up different colors, and you can hear the phone call through the controller, which at times is annoying to get the phone calls through the controller. But when I'm into it and like I don't give a damn, it's dope. Like it is nice because like it's like I can actually hear the conversation better, because sometimes I get the sound of the game mixed up with the phone call that you'll get in like video games and stuff like that. They'll like mesh a little too much. But when it comes out of your controller, although I don't like it every single time because you get a lot of phone calls in that game, but it is really cool when you're like in a mission and you need to take that phone call and you can hear it nice and clear through the controller. That controller speaker, I like it.
That's super nice. And I like how, you know, if you aren't sure if the cops are on you, it like you can always tell from the remote because it will flash with the red and the blue, like, you know, oh shit, they still like, I gotta go find a Los Santos Customs.
Exactly. Perfect. All right, well, moving forward, I didn't get to actually ask you this question, and everybody knows if you're watching, I usually ask everybody this question. What was your first console? I did not get to even, I literally just forgot to even ask you that question before we got started, but let me go ahead and ask it now. What was the first console that you actually had at your home that you could play regularly?
Atari 2600.
Whoa, you taking it way back.
Way back. Yeah, my uncle got it. He's the one who got me into gaming. He got it for me. It was 1985. I was 4, and the only game I could play on it was Joust. I remember playing Joust on the Atari 2600, and I mean, loved it. Loved it. Fell in love with games from that day. I still remember it kind of vividly.
Through and through. Okay, so was that readily available at your home, or did you have to go like visit to play that?
That was the one system I had at home for quite a while.
That's what's up. That's wild. Like I don't even go that far back whatsoever. What's up, Sour Blow in the chat? Good to see you, bro. Yeah, 2600. I don't go that far back. I go as far back as like the NES and Sega. How, if you don't mind me asking, how old were you when you started playing that 2600?
4.
You were 4 years old. Okay.
4 years old. Yep.
Was it during that generation, or was it like in the NES generation or Super Nintendo? Like, I'm wondering how long this person had that console.
I don't know. When did the NES come out?
I think it came out. Man, I'm gonna get thrashed if I don't get this right, but I think it came out in 85. I want to say 85.
Then this is what I think happened. My Uncle Vernie bought one of those, and I think the Atari 2600 was probably his, and that's why he gave it to me to be at my mom's house with me, because he had the NES. So I would go to his house with him on the weekends to play the NES.
Oh, okay.
That's probably why he bequeathed that unto me, because he went out and bought NES.
So he slid it. He was like, I'm done with this.
I didn't know. He never told me this, but he slid it because he was like, I don't need this shit anymore.
Mr. Joanna Dark said I was 2 years off. It was 83.
Wow, really?
That was when the NES came out. It was 83. So I was 2 years off. Damn it. I always thought it was 85.
We're close, though.
Thank you for the correction. Mr. Joanna Dark does that to me a lot. He'll hear me say something, and then he's like, oh, it's this. And you know what? I don't have any problem being wrong because I like learning things. So appreciate you, dog. Keep correcting me if I need to be corrected.
Could probably help me with like my official like history of when I played games, because I'm not going to remember, but he might know.
Oh, there you go.
Probably helpful.
So after the 2600, what did you move on to play? Because you know what you had just told me is, I found myself enjoying games.
Oh yeah.
Would you consider yourself a gamer though at that point?
No, I wasn't a gamer until I was old enough to be able to play a bigger variety of games and like process games better. I mean, when you're 4, you're fucking 4. it's like, you know, moving and jumping. It's pretty rudimentary.
Right.
So I would say probably, and Mr. Joanna Dark might be able to correct the timeline here if I'm inaccurate. I'd say probably sometime around 7 or 8 years old is when I really started getting into it with the Nintendo. Loved Mario, loved Contra, Double Dragon, loved the Ninja Gaiden games, you know, Ninja Turtles. So I just got, I mean, every single weekend, I went over to my uncle's house to play with him every single weekend.
All right. So that's when you grew into gaming more and knew that, hey, this is actually a route that I want to partake in regularly.
Oh, yeah.
So let me ask you what the first console was that you like, that you were blown away by. Like, I'm not saying like, so the NES was around, you know, you said you were young, around 4, 5, 6, 7-ish. But there's a time in everybody's life, if they're a gamer, that they just see something and they're just like, what?
I think Mr. Joanna Dark's gonna have to help us out here. When did the first PlayStation come out?
Ooh, now I'm gonna get this wrong again, but I want to say 95, Mr. Joanna Dark. Actually, I'm gonna look this up. I might as well look it up. I'm literally standing in front of a computer.
I want to say I think you're right, like 95, 96.
December 94. So I was like a month off or something, whatever.
At Christmas it came out, I got it. And I was, 94. I wasn't quite in high school yet. So I was in like late
97. Where did you get 97 from? Because I looked it up just now. It said 94 December. Yeah, that looks better, Mr. Joanna Dark. That looks better. He corrected himself.
Okay.
But what game were you talking about?
Just the PlayStation in general.
Just the console.
Yeah, because I mean, it was used to Nintendo games and then Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64, and then you had the discs. And I just feel like it was a performance step up. Like the graphics felt different. It felt like the games could be bigger. I just felt like I got more performance from it. I just thought I kind of fell in love with the PlayStation. I was like, this is pretty fucking cool.
Oh, yeah. I actually 100% agree with you because I was in that same situation where my stepdad had passed me over the Sega a while back, but I didn't know why. He was just like, you can have this. I didn't know why. It's because he was getting a PlayStation.
He did it to you.
And yeah, exactly. So I got the Sega and I had to put, a game case on the back of it to keep it on because it probably got yanked around too much or something like that. I was just playing my Road Rash, loving my life, playing some John Madden. Oh. Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic game. But I was playing, I was playing those games, Toe Jam and Earl, stuff like that, Justice League. And then he comes home with like a gray-white like box that was like had some black on it as well. And he busted it open like it was a present to the entire household. So I'm excited because I think I'm gonna, be playing on this thing. Come to find out, it's the grown folks console. Right? Go play your Sega. This is the grown folks console. So at the times that I could only play, because I could only really play games after dark, they told me to keep my ass outside when I was young. So I'd come in after dark, be able to play my Sega for like an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. And I never really got to play the PlayStation for like a solid few months. And then I finally got to try Ridge Racer.
So good, right?
Yes. I finally got to try Ridge Racer on this big screen, freaking massive tube TV that had under compartments on it.
Did you get the black car? Do you remember like that really hard, the very end, the really hard car to beat, but if you beat it, you got the black car?
Ooh, I do not remember. I only remember I only remember just how crazy some of the turning and stuff like that was in that game. It was hard. It felt next gen as fuck.
It did. It did. Like, it came out and the gameplay was like, whoa, what is this? This is so cool. It's so very different, right, from the predecessor consoles that we'd seen.
Oh yeah. So like seeing things like Game Day, NFL Game Day come out on that, Game Breaker. These are games before like Madden was mega big on the PlayStation, and before you even heard of a 2K. Like, you didn't hear of any 2Ks back then.
We had Mortal Kombat. We had like the old Mortal Kombats.
Mm-hmm. I remember getting that mirror disc version of Mortal Kombat Trilogy.
Ooh.
Where it had all the freaking characters on there, and you can put in a code to do one button fatalities.
That's incredible. Well, because this was before, like, we didn't have internet in the homes, right? So we would go out and buy books. Like, you'd have a Mortal Kombat book that you'd scroll through, and you'd look at the character, and it would tell you how to do all their moves, the different fatalities, and like, you just use the book and you follow the book. I remember for like Tony Hawk, you'd buy the book and it would tell you all the damn maneuvers because you couldn't look it up. There wasn't like guides or internet to do this shit.
Yeah, they gave you like a short trick list or something like that, but they didn't tell you everything that you could do. It just gave you some stuff. Where now the games now have like everything in there, and if you can't figure it out, you just go to YouTube. But yeah, back in the day, you had to get that book if you, especially in like a game like Zelda. Oh my god, if you didn't have a book for that game, you were missing all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, get the
Super
book.
Insane. All right, so the PlayStation was the first thing to like really blow your mind in gaming.
Yeah.
Give me a few big games that you really enjoyed in that generation. Might I add, I want you to also add in maybe some 64 games, because that was the same generation.
I didn't play a ton of 64. There's only one 64 game that I was obsessed with, which is
GoldenEye.
A lot of people are GoldenEye. GoldenEye was so fucking good, man. That's all. I didn't even have a 64. I would just go to a friend's house to just play GoldenEye like a crackhead. I played a lot of Ridge Racer. Played a lot fucking Road Rash, man. Played a lot of Road Rash. Mortal Kombat. There was this game. ESPN made a game of like extreme sports where you could luge and skateboard and bike. You could race people. And,
Extreme
like,
sports.
Yes, that was so good. What else? Do you remember? Oh my god!
I think it was called Too Extreme as well.
That's exactly what it was. It had a sequel. It had Extreme Sports and Too Extreme. Do you remember Parappa the Rapper? Come on.
Oh yeah, with the onion guy.
Yes. That. Holy shit! I played Tony Hawk Pro Skater for sure. I did play a lot of that.
Everybody played that damn game.
That's what I'm remembering right now, is playing a lot of those, which were very different than what kind of games we could get.
Absolutely. Man, what are you, in Florida or something?
You hear the storms?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm in Florida. This is like a typical fucking day in Florida where it's it's insane. The weather here is like petting a cat on the stomach. You really have no idea what you're gonna get.
I was thinking Florida or like Colorado or something. Like Colorado also is like that. Like they'll be snowing one day and then it'll be all gone the next day, and then you'll get this crazy thunderstorm. And it's like, what the hell's going on here? It's been a week.
Yep. It's Florida. Yep, that's what you're hearing.
Absolutely, that makes sense. So, yeah, I remember Parappa the Rapper though. That game used to piss me off when I was young, because I'm only 33 years old. So when that game was around and whatnot, especially like on the demo discs where it had like that Siphon Filter and some other games, like I used to try out Parappa the Rapper, and I just sucked at timing in that at that time for whatever reason. I was more into button mashing when I was young. I was really good at like the track and field games, like international track and field for the original PlayStation. I dare anybody to go versus me in that game to this day. I will out button mash the hell out of somebody. It's not even fair.
Do you remember on original Nintendo they had track and field that had that trackpad?
Yes.
Dude, no lie. We got down on our knees and cheated and like used our hands.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, well, I'm gonna beat you. And then we would just be so fast on the hands. It's like, well, I'm gonna use my hands too because you're using your hands too. We cheated like a mother.
That game was wild.
That game was wild. Excitebike is still one of my favorite NES games.
Excitebike is pretty fire. But I guess now from here I just kind of want to know what was the next big leap in gaming for you after the original PlayStation. So now you're getting older, right?
Sadly,
yes. So like I'm thinking like around high school time.
PS1 was high school for me.
Okay, so right, or even better, after high school, college, or whatever you're doing after you got done with school. Where was your head at?
You mean like in gaming?
Yeah.
I went right to every generation I've had a PlayStation. Back to back to back to back to back to back. PlayStation 2 was a phenomenal system with a phenomenal set of games, but I just, being young and then having the adult life kind of, I worked a lot and I was partying a lot and I just wasn't gaming as much. Life was just kind of happening and I wasn't as focused on games. I went to college a little later around the in between like the PS2, PS3 time. I played the shit out of I got into this fucking Call of Duty phase. God damn, dude. Like it was so bad. Like that's all I wanted to do.
Which one was it? Was it World at War? Was
Modern
it
Warfare
Modern Warfare 2?
Oh my god.
There it is.
The online of that was but World at War was such a good campaign too. And you could play it with your friend.
Mm-hmm.
Shooters.
I think that was the first one with zombies.
I think it might have been, yeah. I think it was. That was just a whole different, I don't know, I feel like shooters were just really different back then. Maybe it was just that's what I was into. I mean, your tastes change. I used to play a lot of Madden and 2K and racing games. I just played different stuff over time. I find that my tastes kind of keep evolving with me. And I like a lot of different things.
The aesthetic really matched the gameplay and feel back then with a lot of different games. So something about Call of Duty, it felt like they knew what they were doing so well in like Modern Warfare 2 and especially 3, in my opinion, because 3 was my favorite one. Everyone talks about Modern Warfare 2, but 3 was my favorite because it had a massive chunk of 2 in it with more maps. That's what it felt like to me. In a few more options. So like I felt like they knew what they were doing so much that they had just so many modes and things that you could do. And like for one, like for instance, like let's look at the modes that you got now. You do have quite a bit of modes, but the way to get to them, there's a catch, Oh, if you want to play Warzone, this kind of game, you have to download a whole different game. And if you want to play these kind of multiplayer things, you have to download this kind of thing. Like, and these things are massive. It's not just like a disc-based game anymore at all.
That's what it's like now.
Yeah, of course. Like if you have Call of Duty, for one, when you log into Call of Duty, it has which one do you want to play. So it is so it's possibly assuming you have all of them downloaded, which would be freaking insane. That'd be almost all of, if not all of, your memory space, right?
Holy
but
shit.
Then, I mean, if you were to download every single one that's on there, including Warzone, it's a crazy big game. And then on top of that, you have like one multiplayer mode where it's like a co-op thing, right? That's its own download. The multiplayer mode where it's like PvP, but you still can like team up with your friends or whatnot, that's another co-op mode. That's a separate thing. And that's like a separate download, right? And then the campaign is a separate download as well. Back in the day, what I'm saying is you used to be able to have all of that just condensed into one game. And all you had to do is put the disc in and let it play. Now you have to have a crap load of stuff downloaded just to be able to get all the varieties that the game offers.
The games weren't even that big. Like memory-wise, the space it took up wasn't that big. And you could literally pick any mode you wanted to right there. I mean, it was super easy, and it wasn't a gigantic game, but I mean, it had a lot of content in it.
I tell you what, if you get a Call of Duty game, whether it's on Xbox or PlayStation, you're gonna see all these like texture packs that you can get, which will like enhance the game visually. If you want to do the multiplayer games, you have to make sure you have like A, B, and C downloaded, and like it's wild. Like I mean, unless you're down to just hit download and it downloads everything, but that's like a freaking 100 or 150 gigs or something like that. Like it's taken, and that's just one game. That's just Modern Warfare 1. And then you download Black Ops, it will use the same launch to turn on the game, but it's a whole other assortment of downloads that you have to have. So more packs for like multiplayer, pack 1, 2, and 3, texture pack, this, that, and the third, and it's just like,
wow.
Like when you go to download, it don't matter if you have gigabit internet, it's gonna be a minute.
No, I'm good. I'm glad those days are behind me. I'm good. I'm good.
So that is the reality of Modern Warfare now. But bet your bottom dollar, all this bitching I'm doing about it, of course, I'm going to complain because I'm going to buy it. Because I'm going to buy the brand new Modern Warfare 2. And I'm excited to play it. But when you said that it's... When you were comparing the different, or I'm not sure if you were comparing the differences as much as I was, but when you were talking about how it was back then playing the game, how it felt and everything, it just reminds me of now when I think of the game, I just think of, man, this is a lot of work just to turn it on. Or just, or like, you know, once you got it downloaded, it's not a whole lot of work. But just like, I like hopping around from game to game to game to game to game. That game will make you have to delete another game off of your console to download something else, unless you got those expansion drives or something like that. And I don't have one other than the Seagate one for my Series X, but that's from last generation, so it doesn't have like the terabyte that's the fast SSD one. That's just my take.
I mean, sounds fine to me. I'm gonna trust you because I don't play it anymore. I don't have anything against it. It's just the shooter thing. Just the pew pew isn't as. It's just is not as much my thing anymore.
What happened?
I probably just got burnt out on it, dude. Like I played so much. I just think I just got burnt out on it.
Okay.
It's like eating the same thing over and over and over and over, and you're like, it's just burnout. Because I really wasn't
to the same song, yeah.
Yeah, I really wasn't playing a lot of variety. I was just really into a couple niches, and I just played the shit out of them for so long within that generation, and I just kind of burnt out on them, I think.
All right. So then, after you got done with your Call of Duty phase, what kind of games did you find yourself hopping back into once you found the time? And like what was one of those main games that get you out of shooters for a little while?
That's when I started getting into RPGs, and that's when I started getting into like interactive narrative games. I liked Indigo Prophecies on PlayStation 2 a lot, so I was already familiar with Quantic Dream. Loved Heavy Rain. I loved that game on PS3. I played it a lot. So I liked games like that, and then I got into Fallout New Vegas. Oh, is that game fucking good? And that just really kind of scratched some itches that I didn't know I had, and that really kind of started tilting me into the beauty of RPGs. So that's kind of the shift, I think, is where I really got into like the interactive game. I'm a story hoe. I don't need no fucking gameplay. I played Quantic Dream. That shit don't even have fucking gameplay. Don't nobody like QTEs. But I just like, I like a good story arc. I just like a game where I can change the story up. And fuck, do I love RPGs. They're just so fun. So that's the shift that did it for me.
Okay. So I'm actually going to shift into now, like this generation, where we're currently at in gaming. What do you think of it? Because like from, the noise that's on Twitter and everything like that, I want to know from you, from something I heard on Twitter, that like some people believe gaming is, and I feel like this is silly, but it makes a fun question. Do you think gaming is dying in any way, or like stagnating, or anything like that?
I don't think so. I mean, if you look at the numbers, if anything, COVID drove the market to be so profitable. They've changed a lot of the way they're delivering content and making content. Assassin's Creed Valhalla made Ubisoft $1 billion fucking dollars.
Oh my god.
A game like that, this is not me trashing it, but I mean, it's not the greatest game. It's fun, but it's not like, oh my god, the greatest game.
Mm-hmm.
And Elden Ring sold 16 point something million copies. That's a really niche game that was never marketed to like, a bunch of mainstream consumers, really. Like, you know what I mean? It didn't spoon feed the same way. And those are two completely different kinds of games and completely different kind of genres, and they were marketed in completely different kinds of ways. And they're both massively successful. Mobile gaming is huge. It's bigger than ever. Now more people are offering streaming services, and there's different ways that we can access our games. So I think gaming is at least growing as far as number of people coming into gaming.
Okay. So with the accessibility that is brought by these subscription services, do you think that's the right direction in gaming? Like,
I mean, I think individuals should make the choice that's right for them. If you're a player and you like to, collect, there's something special about opening up the cellophane and cracking open the game, and then, you pop the disc out, and maybe there's a piece of paper in it that has a smell. If you're into physical, buy physical. If you like digital, buy digital. If you like the value that PS Plus Premium or Game Pass has, get it. Do what works for you. I have all of it. I'll buy it, stream it, rent it, slap it up, flip it, rub it down. I just want to get games in. What I do like about the streaming option, what I do like about Game Pass is that cost accessibility, it can help. It can make it more affordable. So with things like xCloud saying, I don't have to buy a high-end computer, I can't get a console because it might be very expensive in a country that you live in. So that might be an option to add some cost accessibility so that more people can have access to games. So if that's how it works out, I'm a fan, because I just want as many people as possible to be able to have access to games because it's so fun.
Gotcha. All right. Well, I better get back to the questions, because I really veered off for quite some time wondering about all of that stuff and what you thought about, games nowadays and stuff like that. But let me ask you something a little bit more personal in the gaming sense. Like what's your most, like, looking back now, what would you say your most beloved console was? Like from this point in my life backwards, what's the most beloved console? Oh shit.
That's a hard question. I mean, my immediate response is to say PS5 because they're like a fucking unicorn. Like, where are you going to see them in the wild? Like, it's so ridiculously
Could be
hard to get. I think I'm going to say, as of right now, the PlayStation 4, only because at the point in time in my life where I was playing it, being at that age where I had a lot of the stuff out of the way, the school was out of the way, and I had the job set, so like I had the time to kind of be able to go in and enjoy gaming more, and I just found myself really playing a lot more and starting to expand my horizons. Like around that PS3 era, I started to kind of expand and get into more variety of games, but then the PS4 kind of helped me do that even more, to kind of continue to just be less myopic and kind of just grow as a gamer. And that platform just really, I feel like it really helped me do that.
Okay, so the PS4 was the favorite of all of the consoles of all time. I'm gonna pick that
for now, just because of where I was at, the headspace I was at, and where I was at as a gamer during that time, trying to explore more things, branching out, trying to get into new genres, trying to meet more people that gamed, and trying to spend more time gaming. That console was a big part of that. So that's why that would probably have to be my answer.
Okay, now moving on to the next one, I'm wondering what was like the most memorable moment that you've ever had in gaming? Like, yeah, just one that was just insanely dope.
I can't say it's just one moment.
Okay, list a few then.
My uncle got me into gaming, right, as I said earlier, and we played every single weekend together well into adulthood, like in probably my early 20s. And then we just kind of stopped. Life happened, and I was going to school, and you know how that goes sometimes when adulting sucks. And he got older, and he started getting seizures and couldn't work, so he wanted to get back into gaming. So I'd gotten him a PS4, and he's really big into the Western genre and hunting and fishing. So I set him up with Red Dead Redemption 2, taught him how to play it, and we got maps out, and I was showing him where to find legendary stuff, and we were talking about how we're going to get together on the weekends again and play again, and kind of rekindle all those memories we had growing up together, which was, well, me growing up, which was close to 20 years we did that together. And he actually he died that night. He died of a seizure.
Oh no.
It was still a beautiful moment for me, because the night he went, he was so happy to have a PS4. He was so happy to have that game. We played together, and we had made that commitment. I still have the map that him and I had made notes on and stuff. So that's something really cool that I have, and that memory from him. So that whole period of time of him, he kind of, he gave me the platform and kind of gave me the tools and the opportunity to be able to play, to love this so much.
Man, what an experience.
Yeah, it's pretty special.
Damn. I didn't see that came out of left field, that you got to play with them the day of.
Yep.
That's insane. So I'm sorry to hear that happen, but at the same time, I'm happy that, because not a lot of people get to say that they're happy with, their last moments or how they left things. So with you leaving, the last memory, because you said with your uncle, correct?
Yep.
With you having the last memory of your uncle playing Red Dead 2, you bringing it to him to enjoy, and he was just blown away by it. That's a story right there. That's a fantastic story. I'm happy to have it here on the channel. I'm happy to hear. I'm happy to be graced with such a meaningful story.
Yeah, it was pretty meaningful. It was, I mean, of course, you're sad. I mean, my heart was broken, but we had so many good memories together that when you have a guy like that in your life who is that much of an inspiration, I didn't want to. I mean, we're going to lose everybody that we love. So, you know, you think about all the things they taught you and all the memories that you had together. So, you know, it's okay. It's okay. We had all that. Not that many people can say they had all that. So,
man, what I mean, you know, you were talking when we were in the green room before the show. You were talking about, you know, maybe this will be like an inspiration for you because, you know, hard times happen. You said maybe this may be like some sort of inspiration for you to get back into the content creating, which we'll be getting into here shortly. But I mean, you just hit me with the inspiration. That's enough right then, right then and there. I mean, wow, the person that gave you the 2600 that allowed you to come over your house or to come over their house and play the original NES, the person that allowed you in their space in their final moments.
Yep, it's special. It's special.
Mega inspiration.
It is special.
Yeah. So yeah. Run with it. Run with it, girl. Run with it. All right. Let's move on because that was dope. That was fantastic. I love that. What is, and this is actually an interesting question right after that. What would you say is one of the most or some of the most important things that gaming's taught you through the years of playing?
What it taught me?
Yeah. What has gaming taught you as a person?
There's no wrong way to approach something. Even the most linear games have points in them that give you the opportunity as the player to make the decisions. How am I going to approach this? What's my rule of engagement going to be? Where am I going to go? Am I going to search for things? How am I going to upgrade? What decision am I going to make? Like, am I going to sleep with this blue alien? Am I going to like kill this faction or align with them? Like all of you get to approach it and make all of these decisions. I mean, and it's a video game, so that's what's so cool about it is you really can't. You might make a bad decision that makes you feel badly about something that happens, but there's no wrong way to do things. So getting creative and exploring and trying to figure out, well, what happens if I do this? What happens if I do that? Is just really fucking cool.
Yeah. All right. That's a really positive thing to look. That's a positive way to look at to look at gaming, and a really interesting and important thing that has helped you push on in life. You know, figuring out ways to navigate around things that may be hard or may seem easy but end up being way harder. You know, I mean, all of that stuff does happen in gaming. So it's pretty incredible that you put those two together. I like that a lot. But now we're going to move into the content creation part of this episode. And I want to know what you, Crystal, what made you get into content creation specifically? Because you were already a gamer. You've been a gamer for a long time at this point.
So long.
What made you finally, you know, set up your camera or, you know, go to, you know, whatever to get some streams going, stuff like that? Like, were you a Twitch gamer first that just was like, screw this, I want to do content? Like, what happened?
Not really. I really felt I got the itch to start a podcast, a show when I saw the Twitter community is absolutely fucking amazing. There are so many incorrect stereotypes that exist about the average person who plays video games. There are so many people right now in the Game Junkie family out there, right? The Twitter family. They're so talented. They're so brilliant. They have so much to say, right? They're opinionated, but they're not, you know, rude. And they're always getting, the small guy, who I think are generally the most talented guys, are always getting overshadowed by so many mainstream media outlets, so many journalists. And not all journalists, not all mainstream, but a lot of it lacks integrity, right? You can tell that a lot of content is designed to make money. And then you can tell when content is designed and driven by passion. And so I wanted a place to say, where can we bring all these passionate people together? Like, can they have a platform and I can help people find their voice, help people tell their stories, help, small indie teams come out. And we've had people come out on the show with sexuality. We've had people come on the show that were trans and help kind of educate people. We've, talked about diversity and just all kinds of things, but it's never been a negative experience. So people can not see eye to eye, but still learn from one another. And I think it's really, really important to give people a voice. And I think it's really important to build a family that just wants to love and support each other and say, we can all be brilliant and talented and create together, and we can do this cooperatively, and we can lift each other up, and we don't have to listen to all this negative bullshit, and we don't have to be overshadowed anymore. It's like motherfucking Game Junkies rise up. And that's what I kind of started the show for, is because that's just something I was really passionate about.
That's awesome. So what I like about what you just said was just the fact that, like, people can speak their mind but be respectful at the same time. And I think that is like a common flaw right now, or at least social media will tell you it's a common flaw, right?
Yeah.
So what I'm hoping to do with my channel, what I'm hoping you do with your channel, what I'm hoping many others do, is just, and this is on whatever side you lean on, PlayStation, Xbox. Like what I want to see is to see people be comfortable with saying, yo, I prefer this, but I play that too, or yo, I prefer this and I don't really like that, and being okay with digesting that.
Yeah, that's okay.
Without freaking out or telling them how wrong they are. They're not wrong. If somebody loves PlayStation and just cannot stand the Xbox controller, I might tell you, yo, I personally don't like that opinion, but at the end of the day, I go home and I play whatever I want. I don't have to play what you're playing. So why is it an issue if somebody throws that on the table like, yo, I don't really like that? I mean, okay, if you want to help convince them and they're like, yo, I ain't trying to hear all that, you got to respect that. Like, I'm not trying to hear all that. Okay. Like, but can you tell me or can you say that to me in a way that's not going to feel like you're trying to, like, tell me to fuck off or get the fuck out of here? It's just like, yo, man, like, that's cool that you like Xbox, but I'm good. Like, I am 100% solid on my PlayStation and I'm not going anywhere. And there's nothing to talk about then. To me, it just kind of is what it is. You got to let people just say what they want to say without all the extra negative BS that comes with it. You don't need to throw in how lame they are or get your bullshit out of here or shut the F up. Like, I don't get it. Like, I go into these spaces on Twitter and stuff like that all the time just for fun, because it's just like, sometimes I learn something really dope, but other times I'm learning how rough it is for people just to communicate. One of the main reasons I have people on this show and why I like them to be on camera on this show is just so you can let your damn hair down. Just be you, and also just be a good fucking person. It's not hard.
It isn't. It really isn't hard.
It doesn't cost any money.
It's free. It's free. And I think authenticity is important, right? Like, I mean, ultimately, it's your Twitter profile. You can do with it what you want, but we all have to be self-aware enough to know that what we're putting out there is the kind of thing we're going to get back. So attract the kind of thing that you want in return. You're not going to please everybody. There's always going to be somebody that might be offended. So do what makes you happy with it. Don't worry about the numbers. Don't worry about the followers. You don't have to impress anybody but yourself. That's who you have to impress in life, is yourself. That's your bar, that's your standard, is yourself. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what other people, if you're being real and you're being yourself and you own the way that you feel, you're going to find your tribe. You're going to find your flock. Your flock may be different from my flock. They may be wildly different, but that's just, it's just what happens. I think people are just so worried about, they think they need to impress other people. You don't. Impress yourself. When you lay that head down on that pillow every night, feel good about the things that you've said and that you've done.
Absolutely. Well said. It's a great way to close that part. Love it. All right. So with your content creation and whatnot, and I feel like you may have answered this partially, but just to kind of double check, what would you say would be your, I don't know, end goal, or what would you like to see come out of your work?
Well, I haven't put out a new episode in a while. I'm going through some personal stuff that unfortunately requires a lot of undivided attention that is pretty stressful. So I've had to put that on hiatus. So really, when it comes to that, I'm focused on the here and now. The big goal is ultimately to get the Game Junkie show back up and going and coming out, every other Wednesday. I don't have any goals as far as numbers or subscribers or anything like that. I hope the community grows bigger. I hope my circle, right? My Twitter sphere. I hope we keep, like you and I met recently. I hope stuff like this keeps happening, where more small content creators come together, more people join. We met
just off of a tweet.
Yeah, and more indie teams come in, and more, and all these positive and welcoming and supportive discussions happen. So if I think about if I think about what the show gave to me and gave to the community, if I measure my wealth, I'm 40 years old now. So if I look at the last 40 years and I measure my wealth by the connections that I've made, so the friends I have and the level of respect they have for me, I'm so fucking wealthy. I'm so fucking lucky. I'm so fucking blessed. And the show helps facilitate that, because it helps me get to know people. It helps people get to know one another. It makes people happy. We all get to share our passion together, and we get to do it in a loving and supportive way. And I just want to keep growing that Game Junkie family, and just, all of us just keep coming in and supporting each other. And that's just where it's at, man.
Yeah. And really the support in my eyes is just showing up for a second.
Yeah.
You don't even, I understand, people think I don't, or some people think I might not understand. Man, your show is long. I'd stay a lot longer if it wasn't so. And it's that's not why I'm doing this. I'm not doing this for you to sit glued here every second and every minute. I'm doing this because I love meeting people. Absolutely love that. But I'm also doing this because, I don't know, I feel like it's just something that calls on me that feels like I just need to be doing this. And it's weird to it's weird to say it like that, but I feel like there's a lot for me to learn, and there's a lot for me to be able to teach to those that don't realize they need to learn. And if I can do that one episode at a time, where you come in for just a couple of minutes, just see what I'm talking about, and then go about your business, I'm more than fine with that. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing this for people just to come and be glued to the seat and feel obligated and whatnot to be here. I just want to have a good show, have some dope guests, and maybe all of this goes somewhere, maybe it doesn't. Fine.
I think showing up is really, really important, right? And that statement goes a long way. people on your gamer friends and your Twitter friends, they can be real fucking friends, yo. Like, we get to know each other, we get to trust each other, we tell each other things. Like, that's real connection, that's real friendship. You can have that if that's what you want, but showing up, if you think somebody's having an off day, show up, man. Just be there. It takes just a small, you can take just a tiny fraction of time out of your day just to show up for somebody, and that can make a world of difference for that person. That can change their whole day. And that's what it's about. That's what this community is about.
It's those little incremental amounts of love that you get that build up over time. And then you just have unconditional love all of a sudden for somebody that you may have not known a few weeks, even a few days, or even a few years ago, Like, it's just that little bit of care that you show. Like, granted, I got Silent Cypher that's in the chat right now. Dope dude. He does Xbox International every Wednesday. I come into that show as many times as I can, but sometimes I got a 4-year-old to deal with. Sometimes it's time for dinner around that time, but I just show up, say what's up, hang out for as many seconds, minutes, or hours that I can, and then I get out of there because I got other stuff to do. And I'm sure they understand that. I'm sure all these other podcasts and whatnot understand it. It just is what it is. And but my thing is, like, I'm going to show up. If I support you, I'm gonna try to stop in, even if it's not the whole time. I'm gonna try to show some love.
That's important. Saying something's better than saying, even if you don't know what to say, right? Saying something's better than saying nothing at all.
Absolutely.
Showing up a little bit. Showing up just a little bit is better than not showing up.
Wow. Oh, this is a feelings kind of episode for me, I guess. A lot of feelings coming around. Feeling a lot in the heart today.
I'm notorious.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I like the energy. And then Silent Cypher says, appreciate the love, man. Absolutely. But now I want you to talk about something you don't love. I got something for you. All right.
Okay. Oh boy. What we got?
I want you to tell me a game genre that you just don't like, or just will easily walk past, or maybe look at last compared to all the other genres.
I don't typically tend to be attracted to roguelikes or roguelites. Great game. Returnal's a great game. It just that type of loop and it just wasn't for me. The gameplay phenomenal gameplay. If anybody out there hasn't played it, great game. I highly recommend it. I just wanted different things than what that game could deliver for me, and that's no slight on the game. That's just my preference. But those are the two genres that I'm just not as crazy about.
I feel that because, and I mean, I hate to be agreeing all the damn time, but like, you're just saying some things that I just can't deny. Like rogue-like games, like, they exhaust me. Like I will, like, for instance, on Returnal, I was playing it for like 45 minutes to an hour and a half. I don't recollect every single minute that went by in that, but like, playing it with a buddy, we got a decent amount, got to the boss, didn't beat the boss, got 3/4 of the way through the boss, and we both died.
Frikey, that first one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. And although it was fantastic getting there, working and all that stuff, loading back in and starting out with that pistol again made me just sleepy. And I was just like, I don't want to do this again. I don't want to deal with this right now. Because, like, I love it in a game, and I know that's obviously not a roguelike game if it's the way that I like it, because I like to be able to die and then just be like, all right. Because at least in a Souls game, when you die, it's just like, all right, I'll try again, you know? And you just keep getting your butt beat by the same boss. But in like roguelikes are just a different beast, man. Like you lose after an hour of playing, you got to start all over, and the situation's going to be a little different than the last time, and it's just like, man, I did the same. I did the same thing with Hades too. I thought Hades was dope. I thought Returnal was dope, but each time I went to turn it on and I'd play it for a little bit, once I die and I have to start all over again, I'm like, next game. I got too many games for this right now.
That was my thing too. To get good enough to get through this, I'm probably going to have to play this at least 60, 70 hours, possibly 100, 120 hours. I could beat a couple other games in that time frame. But to the people who have that mental fortitude and the discipline to sit there, especially before they made the suspend cycle, when you had to get through 3 fucking bosses and a whole biome just to get a save point, absolute kudos to you. Because RNG is challenging. Like, you don't know what you're gonna get. So some of you guys are a fucking beast, and you just learned how to plow your way through with a shitty pistol, because that's what RNG does. So I have mad respect to the folks that got through that, and to the folks that grinded for the platinum, which required RNG stuff. It's just, for me, I'm gonna be like, hell no, y'all, I'm going to the bar. Y'all can keep playing the shit, but I got to go.
Yes. No, I'm not doing that. Like I am not trying to, I'm not trying to sit out here and gloat about like how good of a gamer I am. I'm not trying to do that at all. Yo, I already know that there are tons of people in these streets that would mop me in all these different games and whatnot. I don't need to prove nothing to nobody. I think a game is cool, but it ain't my taste. See you later. Time to get deleted. There's too many games out here. There's too many games out here for me to be mentally stuck on one for way too much damn time.
I feel you.
Just too much to play. It'd be different now. It was different back in the day, like, you know, Sega and Nintendo. You had even original PlayStation, like, but especially before you had like the memory saves and stuff like that. Like,
yeah.
Like, but at the same time, you didn't have the variety of games and the accessibility to games that you do now. So like,
sure.
so like when you lose all your lives from Mario, yeah, it hurt the same that it hurts when you lose in Returnal now, right? But your fortitude was different back then, because you're like, well, this is the only game I got. I'm gonna keep pressed.
That's the way it was. Like, you had no choice. You're like, oh shit, there's no other way to do things. So the way they've made games accessible has spoiled me a bit, and yeah, I fucking like that. I'm totally fine with that. Like, I'm okay with that. I'm getting older. I got like to fold laundry, and I gotta cook dinner. Like, I'm fine with that.
Exactly. So I ain't gonna sit here and push on a game, especially if it's in a service. I'm not gonna push to beat something that I just am literally not loving.
That's the thing. I think
I'm done.
You gotta love it. I feel like all video games in their fundamental design are somewhat repetitive, right? It's the same mechanics. The mechanics might grow, the enemies might slightly change, but the fundamental aspects of what you're doing in each and every game is repetitive. Does that game give you the attributes you want to keep you entertained enough that you continue to do it over and over? And that's the point. And games are going to do that for some people and not for others. So I think there's no shame in being somebody that says, I'm going to get everything, get all the trophies, do everything, spend a bazillion hours in it. That's just as okay as somebody going, nah, it's just not for me and I don't want to spend any more time in it. It's just two different people seeing the same game in a different way, and that's okay.
Yep, there's no reason to force something that you don't like. Whether you bought it or whether it's a subscription service. If it's a subscription service, you're paying for it through the subscription service. If you bought it, well, you definitely ain't got to answer to nobody because that's yours. You own it. Can't nobody tell you what to do. They can call you whatever they want to call you, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter because you're the one that has to play it. You got to endure that. Do you want to endure the pain? No, don't do it. That's it.
Sounds like Elden Ring because I'm sitting there going, why am I putting myself through this? But at the same time, I'm also going, I'm glad I put myself through this, and I don't fucking understand it.
well, see, Elden Ring gives you that sense of success fairly quicker than like a roguelike would.
Yes, because in Returnal, you're like, haha, bitch, shitty pistol, very beginning. Now the world has changed. At least in Elden, and it's interesting because I spent one night, a couple hours dying to everything, and I'm like, this fucking sucks. I can't beat anything anymore. Like there's one camp I can clear. I can barely beat any enemies. And then the next day, I figured out, oh, that's how I beat big angry curved sword guy. Oh, that's how I take that guy off the horse. Oh, that's how I fuck up the crab. Okay, it's like you get it, and then you feel that progression. And when you die, you try to go back and get the souls, and it's not like you're way back, without your weapons or without what you've built up to that point. So it is drastically a different progression system.
It is. It really is. Elden Ring gives you granted, not every boss is gonna be right in front of you after you die. Like sometimes when you die, you like respawn right back in front of the bosses. But like a game like, let's say Bloodborne, sometimes you have to go back through those nooks and crannies to get to where you were. And you don't have to fight anybody. But the thing is you still have the same powerful ass sword that you had before. You still have the shields and all the armor and stuff like that. Where in a roguelike, you butt naked when you die.
Butt naked.
You running out there butt naked and just and you can't afford to skip every single enemy on your way to the big boss. You have to beat them so you can level up your stuff so then you can actually go in there and fight. Unless you're some crazy streamer, which there's plenty of them nowadays, that will go everywhere butt naked and beat everything.
Butt naked and beat everything. Like some of y'all are just crazy talented. I don't know how you do it.
I don't
so
understand
impressive. So much respect for y'all because it's like, god damn, I mean, y'all have this craft fucking mastered, and it's awesome. It's awesome to watch. It's awesome to see. It's awesome to share that with them.
It's also really demoralizing.
I'm okay with it. I don't really have.
I mean, I ain't gonna lie. Although I'm over here like, yeah, that was pretty dope. I'm also like, why can't I do that? Damn, why can't I be that damn good? But it is what it is. I can guarantee you that same person might hop onto one of your games and feel the same way that you feel about them, when you're playing or something like that. I mean, I'm not sure if I'm ever going to be as good as some of these like esports players or something like that.
Oh my god!
I mean, they're
so good,
fucking wild. Like I love Rocket League, right? But man, when I watch these people playing on esports and stuff like that, I'm just like, man, I better take a seat. I better take a seat because these dudes is flying upside down, hitting their ass on the ball, and it's hitting the goal.
Some people, that's all they play. Some people just play like one game and get so fucking good at it.
Absolutely. So I want you to name me a game that you played that you were like, man, I can't wait to play this. You let it download, or it just turns on. I mean, it could be a classic game, I don't know. But what game have you got that you were so stoked for, and then when you played it, you're like, oh my god, this is terrible?
Oh no. Oh no. I'm almost embarrassed that I was stoked for this game. I'm not even gonna lie. I don't know why. have faith in Ubisoft anymore. I really don't. I really don't.
This is gonna burn.
I actually was excited for Ghost Recon Breakpoint. I thought it would be kind of like Wildlands, but see, you look like a Pez dispenser because you feel my pain. I can tell you feel my pain right now.
Pez dispenser.
This is gonna be like Wildlands, but like robots in the story and shit, and then the cool Punisher dude will obviously play a great role in the story. So broken at launch. I mean, that's for me personally, that's the worst video game launch I've ever had in my life. It was so rough. So many things were broken.
You were there for the loot issue as well. The loot issue where you had to upgrade your gear.
Yes, and it was just, it's not a horrible game. It's a lot of parts of it are average, and there's nothing wrong with being average. There's nothing wrong with an average game. There's nothing wrong with performing average. Like, average is totally fine. Average was like, we would get excited back in the day for average. When an average game came out, we're like, oh, this is fucking average. Like, that was great. I just had much higher expectations for what it was going to deliver. I thought, based on the marketing, it was going to be something a little bit different, and I was just really disappointed that it was that just buggy and funky and clunky and messed up at launch.
Cypher in the chat said it. He said, "Ha ha ha! We all really hoped it would be a good game."
Yeah,
because I was fresh off of Wildlands, and I was like, "Man, this game
Wildlands is fun.
This game right here is wild." Like they had the Predator thing in the game that was insane.
That thing was so good.
Man, Predator was tough.
Yeah, he was.
But like the way the camera and just so much got changed in Breakpoint that I was just like, man, like, this ain't it.
I don't understand it. It didn't feel at all like a Ghost Recon game. It's like, how is it so broke? I would just fall down hills. I mean, my character would just fall. Like, there goes the stealth approach. I mean, I just. And motherfuckers,
there goes the stealth.
God damn it! I can't just fucking like. And then I would have like the drone. There was just so many, just tech-related stuff that was just so funky that that let me down. So I'm not going to say. It felt
like everything you touched was glue. Like you just walk up to a wall, you start leaning on it all hard.
It was a very rough launch. I'm sure they've ironed a lot of stuff out, but for me, in my mind, it's at the end when all was said and done, it's an average game, which is okay, but I had way higher expectations for it. I really did.
Yeah, and another thing that like bothered me, I'm not sure if it bothered you that much, but like the whole health system in that game. Like when you'd heal yourself and like or like, so like you'd get shot. I understand they wanted to bring like a realism feel to it, but it's like, man, I'm limping everywhere right now. Like it's like the health in that game to me just sucked. You revive somebody, you revive them, and they're just limping everywhere. They can't hurry up and get where you're going. So you run out there to revive them, and then you run back, and they get shot again. Well, then you gotta go back and revive them immediately again.
It's clunky. Yes. The gameplay was already clunky. It's like if you weren't hurt, it already felt clunky, and the movement was clunky. So then when you get hurt, it's like over clunk. So it like they clunk fucked the system when they did that, and it was just way too much clunk. I said, but you're 100% right. Like you'd be like, that was so bad.
You make it sound like a Nutty Professor game. The clunks.
Oh my god. Fucking clunks.
Yeah. Absolutely. All right, so now let's move to something more positive.
All right, let's do it.
So we got a few more questions left before we go on ahead and get out of here. You got to keep it on time. I like to keep it 2 hours or under, even though last episode got out of hand with time. But I want you to tell me what were the best 3 games, and this could be from any time or generation or whatever. I want you to tell me the 3 best games. No. I'm not of all time that you played within the last 365. So just in the last year.
Oh, just the last year.
Yeah, trying to make it a little easier.
Okay, so the best 3 games I've played within the last year. Well, I have to pick Horizon Forbidden West because Horizon's one of my favorite franchises. That was my most anticipated game since I beat Zero Dawn for the first time. I thought that game was incredible, so I'm going to put that on the list. Death Stranding Director's Cut. I played that within the last year. That game wrecked me. Narratively, that game wrecked me. That game changed me. Oh, there's so many. I've played so many good games this year. Like, you have no idea. I mean, like, Mass Effect Trilogy could easily be up there.
That's a whole lot of game right there.
I would have to put Hellblade in contention for the best. As much as I hated how uncomfortable it made me feel, what they did narratively was absolutely incredible. So I would probably say, and I played that recently, so I'd have to say probably Horizon Forbidden West, Death Stranding Director's Cut, and Hellblade. But I think the real question is, which Mass Effect is better, 2 or 3? That's a hard fucking choice. I feel like 2 had better characters, and some of their mechanics I liked better, but it was bullshit that I only got a little bit of Liara in the Shadow Broker, and I needed, like, full-blown Liara. So if you wanted to, like, continue your blue alien, like, sex fest, you go with 3 or do you go with 2? These are important questions.
Sex fest.
Well, I don't know. Like, if I'm gonna die and I'm in space and there's like a hot blue alien with big breasts, I mean, I don't know when I'm gonna die, so I'm gonna. Or maybe you're into Garrus. I mean, mandibles are cool. Ollie in the mask is sexy. Whatever. Don't judge. I don't judge alien sex.
Yeah. Okay. It is what it is. Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting question. But so would you say it was Mass Effect then?
No, I'm gonna pick Horizon Forbidden West, Death Stranding, and Hellblade. Are gonna be
Hellblade. Man, Hellblade, when they had that voice, that's like did you play it with your headphones on?
Yes, and I had trouble sleeping for the first 2 nights. Like, I was very, very, very affected.
Remember the part where you're walking in the water, like halfway up on your chest, and it like turns pitch black?
Yep.
And that, and the I'm not going to spoil the end at all, but wasn't it like just an about face when you found out what was really going on at the end?
I suspected what the premise of the story was because, I mean, it was about mental illness, but the way I didn't expect all the things that you learn, and I didn't expect them to. That's very hard to describe without giving spoilers, isn't it? There was a lot more to the story than I expected it would be. And then I learned things that I was very pleasantly surprised. I thought they did an absolutely fantastic job. I don't know that I ever want to play it again because it fucked me up. But that game is absolutely incredible, but I think it does a wonderful job of drawing to light what it might be like for people who have certain type of mental illnesses, because they really, really, really nailed like psychosis and anxiety.
Remember the anxiety of having the black stuff going up your arm?
Rot.
When you
I
die?
was so,
the rot, yeah.
I was so scared there was going to be a permadeath, and I was keeping track of how much I died and how much it went up. I was like, I'm so close to the end. How many times can I die? I mean, I really felt the tension, and those fucking trials. You know what I'm talking about, by the tree to get that sword? That one where you have to balance. God, I thought it was going to kill me. I thought my heart was going to explode. Like, I stopped breathing. I was so wonderful job that they were able to make me feel that in a video game. That's incredible.
They got me good.
Oh fuck 'em.
They got me good because my buddy Matt was listening to me as I was beating that game, and I remember after I beat it and I found out what was going on, and I was just like, what the fuck? Then the credits rolled, and I remember just being like, that was bullshit. like because I was just so nervous, and I had that rot coming up, so I was like, oh no. Like, in the last fight, oh my goodness, I was just like, can't die here. I literally, that last fight, I was in it for, I want to say, like 35 minutes.
Because you don't know what to do. It takes time to figure out. Oh.
Exactly. Exactly. So you are using your time in a way that you don't anticipate at first.
Man, that was a masterpiece.
Trying to use my best way to navigate without saying what happens.
It is a hard one to describe. Yeah.
It is a hard one to describe. But going back, we're actually not going back, but actually going forward, what game are you most excited for that is coming out within the future in general?
I mean, Forbidden West was the huge one for me that I had been waiting for the longest.
Okay.
I'm excited for Ragnarok. I think it's going to be great. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm also really excited for Starfield. I like
RPGs.
I liked Fallout 4. I'm kind of excited to see what Bethesda does next gen. I'm about it.
You're about them RPGs.
Outer Worlds 2, those got to be number one. I fucking love Obsidian. Give me Outer Worlds 2. Just give it. Put it in my veins.
If you got a dope showcase of Fable, would that make you jump on ship for that? Or were you ever in the Fable?
Maybe. I never really was as big into the thing about RPGs is you got to be selective about which franchises you get into, or you will never stop playing them and you'll never get through them because there's so many, especially if you also like JRPGs. So I've kind of had to like pick ones that I'm gonna stick with, and then if I get the time, introduce new ones in, because there's just so many and they're so long. So like I haven't really gotten into Fable, and I don't know if I will, and that's one of the reasons why, is because it's like I can't play that many of them.
Okay, fair enough. What 2 games would you go back and bring to today that are like dead? Something that's gone.
PS3, X-Bone days. My favorite shooter of all time, Rainbow Six Vegas 2, back when Ubisoft made Magic. That game was so fucking good. I want it revived. So fucking good. That and Manhunt. Rockstar.
Wow, we're going way back.
Rockstar did something special for the horror genre in gaming, and gaming was not ready for it back then, because that game was highly criticized. They started censoring it. The second one came out, which was completely censored, and it just ruined the franchise. That was a special kind of horror, and I wish they would bring that back and do what they did then again.
Yeah, I think they were a little too ahead of the game.
Way too ahead of the game. Parents were having a fucking fit over that game, and it was very graphic. Like the violence was shocking, so they say.
Yeah, Rockstar, they still do it now. They make addicting games. They make addicting games that push your comfort level. Whether it's in the Wild West, today's nature, even in a game like the Warriors, which you could, like, if you were watching the stream, you could see it above. Remember the Warriors back in the day? Did you ever play that?
So. I don't think so.
It was a video game based off of the movie The Warriors. And that game was wild. You're beating up people. You take a drug pretty much to get your health back. You're beating up bums, robbing people, stealing money to, get your gang bigger and better. Like,
that sounds like fun.
It sounds like a Rockstar game, right?
Yeah. That sounds like a Friday night. Like, that could be just a Friday night, any Friday night. That sounds great.
It's a great game though. If you don't know about the Warriors, you should definitely check it out if you're into older stuff at all. If you're just rocking with the new stuff, then whatever. But so you say Manhunt, and what was the other game?
Rainbow Six Vegas 2.
Rainbow Six Vegas 2. All right. Now, I'm down to the last two questions. Technically 3. I'm going to push 2 of them together. All right?
Okay. All right.
The one that I'm pushing together, we're going to do first. And I want to know what frustrates you about gaming. And then also, what would be a dream come true within gaming?
I think in any industry, this could be true for. It's not just in gaming. But I think the frustration just comes from the discourse. Sometimes people are just, I don't know if some people are just trolls. Some people maybe want to be nasty. Some people are really passionate about it and they just get very defensive or very aggressive about it. I just wish that...
I'm okay with those people that get so passionate and they get defensive as long as they don't call me out my name. Like, you can get passionate and mad at me and say what you want, but just don't, go to those lengths of racism or, sexism or whatever. Like, make fun of me in the box that we're talking about. If we're talking about games, make fun of me about games. I don't mind a little discourse.
No, I don't mind. Like, ribbing is okay, right? Everybody isn't going to get along. Debates are absolutely great.
Necessary.
Pointless arguments where you're just trying to be right, insulting people for the sake of it, is just like, that's not going to achieve anything. So that's what bothers me, is the fact that this is a hobby that should be something really enjoyable, and it should be something that, it is bringing us together, really. Sometimes people just take that joy out of it and use it as ammunition for these wars that don't even need to exist, or these battles that aren't even real. Like, at the end of the day, it's just a hobby. It's pieces of hardware and software. It's pixels on a screen. It doesn't amount to anything in real life. So don't be be nicer, man. That's it.
Okay.
Just argue a little more respectfully. That's what frustrates me.
I like that. I like that phrase. Argue more respectfully, because it's really just that simple. There's nothing wrong with disagreeing and being passionate about it, maybe even mad at sometimes, but there's no reason to try to take a dig at somebody because they don't think the same way that you do.
Yeah.
So that is a frustrating piece about gaming.
That's a frustrating piece.
But what's the other piece?
Something that I wish I could see
or live, or this dream is whatever.
Yeah, I'll tell you.
Make it.
I'll tell you a dream I have. I wished all fucking gamers actually liked games. Because I tell you, there are some people out there, nobody hates video games more than fucking gamers sometimes. Do you see the shit they post and say? It's come on, this is your hobby, you love it. Play it and enjoy it, and don't use it. Just stop. Like it. Go play something.
Yeah, I mean, it does seem doom and gloom sometime with a showcase comes out, and you can rate it how you want, but I think it's really disingenuous just to label it trash. It's trash. That is such
it's like review bombing. It's like review bombing for like, why? This is a console exclusive, so you're going to review bomb it? Like, what is the point? That can literally prevent a development team from getting a fucking bonus. Like, because sometimes one of the Obsidian did not get to make another Fallout because New Vegas got, I think, 2 or 3 points too low that they were contracted for. If that game had been like, if you review bomb something, that can make a drastic difference. I mean, if you're doing it for malicious reasons, I just like, why are you doing that? Just go play something. Go find a game that you enjoy. If you want an echo chamber and that makes you happy, go make one. Go get one. Just don't attack other people. Don't attack developers for the hard work they put into this. It's not easy to be a creator. So I'd like to think that a lot of people who just constantly dump on creators have never been a creator. They don't know how much goes in to gaming, how hard it is, how expensive it is, how long it takes, how much project management, how many people it takes to do it, and all the talent it takes to do it.
Just for you to shit on it in 30 seconds.
Yeah, just like be constructive in your criticism. There's no perfect games. There's no perfect person. There's no perfect shows. Be constructive in your criticism. That's what development teams need to see. It's like, this is a trash game. Well, maybe tell them that like these things feel broken, or this thing could have. I loved Horizon Forbidden West, but I still think it needs a quick swap that I can go bink and it presets to armor and weapons that I have set up. That could be an improvement in a game, and I love that game. It's not fucking perfect. There's a way that you can constructively deliver things. And that's what I want.
One of my issues with that game was the bird. I did not like the way the bird traveled at all. I felt like it was like I was driving a bus in the air.
Really?
Yeah, I've played plenty of games where I've flown on a bird's back.
Man, I love
I understand the realism that they're trying to bring within the game, but it really felt like I was driving a Mack truck in the sky.
Oh my god.
And the climbing in the game. I wish it wasn't like yellow in certain spots and then just red everywhere else. And like I can't climb on certain areas to get up.
That's a little frustrating. And we don't need all these. We really don't need all the puzzles. We really don't. We don't. Nothing's perfect. Nothing is perfect. And there's
even your favorite stuff. Yep.
Yeah, and there's just ways that you can say the same thing a lot of different ways. There's no problem with you disagreeing with someone and wanting to discuss with them deeper the disagreement. It's how you approach it and how you say it. If immediately you're kind of venomous and you're like, you're a fucking idiot for liking this, what's the point?
Yeah, and trust, I understand like the whole be open to criticism thing, because it's like one of my favorite games of all time is Ark Survival Evolved. I get criticized for that all the time because that game, the fighting sucks. The grinding is relentless. Like it'll take you let me put this on let me have you try this on for size. If you were to get a Giga egg, which is like one of the biggest dinosaurs in the game, egg, it takes you like a week to hatch it in the game. And the game is real time.
That's your full week. Your week.
Your week for you to hatch that egg. And then once you hatch that egg, you have to make sure that it has enough food. You got to make sure that you imprint it every so many hours, and you only get 3% imprint every few hours. So you are literally babying You're taking care of that game like it's a baby almost.
So I got to turn the console on every 3 hours and do some shit to it.
Yeah. And imagine not having cloud gaming like it is now. Because I did this early in not early, but like 2015, 2016 on the original Xbox. So I had to be home. I had to, get on the internet, and the loading into that game took 7 to 10 minutes alone because the game is so damn big. Yeah. It was insane. So I had to do all that just to put some food in a trough, and then I log out and leave, go to work.
You would think that would have a system in place where that could be automatic, where it would do it for you in increments of every 3 real-time hours. It could automatically be done. You could set it to that.
That's not what the game wants. That's not what the game calls for. It calls for you to come back and come to work or come home. Come do what you gotta do.
Well, get a fucking puppy. At that point, like, I'm not gonna do that in a game. Like, that's
but what I was trying to say is I understand gaming criticism because I heard it from everybody. I ain't playing that game. That game just steals your life. And I was like, I can't argue with you. You're kind of right. But I love this game. This game's fire to me. It is what it is. All right, so we got that all knocked out. The last thing I'm going to ask you pretty much is, what do you enjoy outside of gaming? Just what do you like to do on a regular basis? When gaming isn't on your mind, what would you like your mind to be on?
I actually really enjoy photography. I'm not that good at it, but I really enjoy it. I enjoy going out. Mother Nature is incredible. The greatest canvas that exists on the planet is Mother Nature. So I really like to go out and do photography. I enjoy art museums. I love art. I just have absolutely no talent for it. History is my jam. Love historical places. Anytime I can go anywhere that has historical relevance, I'm down. I'm going to go there. I like true crime and documentaries, things like that. I love a good whodunit story. And I actually really like
too.
Oh, they're so good. If it's like based on a true story, you have my attention. And I actually really love plants. I have a bunch of succulents that I've propagated to grow baby succulents that are now much bigger. And got some decent kind of more exotic house plants. I've got some variegated monstera and some different philodendron, including a pink princess and some Addisonii and a couple Hoyas, which you're like, if I don't know anything about plants, you're like, what the fuck is all this stuff? But if you do know something about
but you're plants, in the botany, so.
Like, if you do know something about plants, you're like, oh shit, like them some plants. I love plants. I love things that when they're in bloom, and you gotta, I don't know. I don't talk to them, but I like to spend time with them. Like, I like to just hang out in a room where it's nice and quiet with the plants, or sit out on the porch. You like to
provide your energy.
Yeah, I just like to sit on the porch with, not right now because it's 5,000 fucking degrees in Florida, but just sit out there with the succulents and just listen to the sounds and not say anything, just absorb everything. Absorb the sounds and the smell and just look at the plants. You know, they all have different shaped leaves and different colors, and I don't know, that's just also fascinating to me.
All right. That's pretty dope. I mean, my lady really likes plants, but she kills them all the time. She smacked me upside the head if she heard me saying that, but she kills them all the time. So I stopped buying her plants. but I think she's really big into plants because her mom is, and her mom has a big old greenhouse and has plants all over the place. And she's always saying, when we get our own house, we're getting a greenhouse.
Yes, you should get her a greenhouse.
Like, I want you to have one, but your history is looking suspect.
It makes it easier. The right environment. I mean, there's a lot of things you have to, like an animal, really. If you think of it, it's a living thing, but they have temperature sensitivities and different kinds of lighting, and you just have to facilitate what they need.
Got all these timers and stuff like that all over the place for watering and sunlight.
Yeah, LED lights.
Yep. Yeah, LED lights and shit like that. Like plants are getting electric. They're getting real electric. But all right. So last thing I'm going to have you do before I have you say the 3 words that I have everybody say at the end of the show is I want to know if you have any questions for me at all.
I would probably have a lot, but we have 10 minutes. So I have to think of questions that you might be able to answer quickly. How did you get into indoor skydiving, like instructing indoor skydiving? How did that?
Wow. Yeah, so my buddy, one of my best friends that unfortunately ended up getting hooked on drugs and lost a lot of stuff that he had going for him. He was really big into skydiving. He used to travel all over like the United States and skydive with people and like stay in campers with people. He even got his own camper, and he decided to slow down. And he decided to slow down after he had a skydiving accident where he was trying to do something cool in a skydive, and he ended up being way too low to try to pull off the maneuver he was pulling off, and he hit the ground going like 70 miles an hour. So after that had happened to him, and he ended up in the hospital with like a broken back and stuff like that. When he got out, he ended up meeting his wife at the hospital. That was his nurse. Insane, like freaking some sort of movie kind of situation, right? Like, oh, I'm laid up in the hospital from skydiving accident, and I meet my wife. That's the nurse, or she was like a nurse, like assistant, some sort of thing, because she was in college at the time. He ended up getting this job after he healed up and whatnot. Them two were together, real tight and whatnot. But he ended up moving to Chicago from Lincoln, Nebraska, where we were both living at the time. And he was like, "Yo, I think I got this job over at iFly." And I was like, "Word?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm going to be teaching people how to fly and whatnot." He was working there for like a year or so. And then he hit me up and was like, "Yo, man, I'm moving to San Diego at some point soon." And I was like, "Man, you're making all these crazy moves, and I'm still sitting here in Nebraska. And everyone's moving out. I literally don't have anywhere to go at this point. I mean, I could go move back to my mom's, but I don't want to do that." And I had lost my previous job because of an accidental phone call that I made while I was out doing something I shouldn't have been doing. Okay. So yeah, I lost my job and was looking for something. I ended up doing lawn mowing and stuff like that for a while. And he hit me up talking about needing to move to San Diego and whatnot. And he's like, "Oh, they have a iFly in Denver, Colorado. I can put in a word for you and see if I can get you to work there, front desk or something like that." And I was like, "Hell, man, I've been looking. My lease is up. I'm looking to get up out of here." I wasn't anticipating, uprooting and going to a new state, but like I said, I didn't have anything there for me anymore. Girl's gone. Don't want to move back into the parents' job's pretty lame, and I'm back mowing lawns again like I was when I was 17, 18. And so I was like, hell, I'll try it. I put an I took a trip to Denver, got an application for iFly, did it, had an interview a week later. So I had to drive another 8 hours again to go back out there for an interview, and then drive 8 hours back to Lincoln, Nebraska. Got the job there. as a customer service, guy, front desk, essentially, just getting people into the door, getting them wristbands and stuff like that. Like I said, my boy was really big into skydiving. I did a couple skydives at that point, and I thought it was pretty dope. And then I started working there, and I was like, yo, like, there's instructors everywhere. I'm just, the customer service guy, but they'd always encourage me to come fly. Come upstairs, come on, come fly. Eventually, I just was like, hell yeah, I'll go up there and do it. The shit was fun anyways. I enjoyed doing it, but I didn't think of it as like something that I was going to be like teaching people to do. Man, I got up there, learned how to fly on my belly, learned how to fly on my back, and then I learned how to fly standing up and upside down. So I was flying upside down all over the place. If you watch like the beginning of my show, that's why you see like me in a wind tunnel flying all over the place, sliding against the walls and stuff like that. 2017 hit, and they offered me a spot as an instructor from working there. So I took that in a heartbeat and went upstairs and started working and flying and indoor skydiving and stuff like that. And I actually got to teach and work with some of the military flyers that ended up going to like worlds and nationals and stuff like that, helping them learn how to fly better in the sky. Because what they would do is they'd come in my facility, learn how to fly on their belly, learn how to fly on their back, sit or flying upside down. They came to our place to learn because it was like unlimited wind. So you'd be flying for a long time compared to jumping out of a plane and having anywhere between 40 and 65 seconds before you have to pull your parachute. That costs a lot of money to get people. Yeah. That's really how long an actual skydive is. If you're living in Florida right now, when you jump from about 13,000 feet, you're looking at about a minute of flight. But if you're in somewhere like Colorado, you're looking at like 40, 45 seconds because the air is thinner. So you're dropping faster, rougher, and stuff like that. Like when you pull your parachute out in Florida, it's going to be a lot easier because there's so much humidity and stuff like that. But when you do that same thing in Colorado, like I said, the air is thin. So when that parachute comes out, it's a little rougher on you initially. So a lot of people love Florida for skydiving and stuff like that.
Would explain why we have so many skydiving
drop
facilities,
zones,
like training zones. Yeah.
You guys have a crazy amount. And if you live near the Tampa area at all, I know like a third of the people that fucking work at that iFly over there.
Really?
Those guys are super duper
Not
dope.
far from me. I actually live a little bit north of that.
Yeah, one of the lead instructors there, if not the lead instructor, is Alex Critchett. That dude is one of the people that signed off on me becoming a coach. It was him and this like world-class flyer, Mike Silva. I was so fortunate to have those two as my coaches because I'm a big guy. When I first started learning to fly, I was 255 pounds. I'm like 20 pounds more now. But like I was 255 pounds and they were small dudes. They had to teach my big ass how to catch wind. And I'm sitting there flying anywhere between, on my belly speeds was around 100, 110 miles an hour. On my standing and upside down speeds were anywhere between 120 to 170 miles an hour. And I had to control myself to move a little bit one direction, a little bit another direction. And then soon that became me moving all over the place, me being able to pop up, go upside down, slide down, go up against the wall and just stand carve around it just like that. And like literally be standing straight up and just have my waist or my chest, and waist just far enough for the 165 mile an hour wind to hit me in the chest to hold me up, and me to use my elbows to turn just enough to not slam into the wall. So like, it is wild learning how to fly, but it's also really expensive. And I got put into a great situation from a friend I truly miss and don't really talk to anymore. And it sucks because we were friends for many years before all that. I'll never be able to thank him enough for that experience and being able to work there. But I need him to respect himself before we start hanging out and talking and stuff like that. And what he's doing is dodging me and his family and stuff like that. So it's really hard for me to want to knock on his door and say, yo, let's kick it, or yo, let's go have a beer, when he's just like ignoring us, doing his own thing, getting in trouble. He got caught with like guns and meth and a bunch of other drugs in his trunk. And it was like, man, to see him be the person I wanted to be, then to go all the way down to that. I got like a crazy text with a bunch of pictures of him doing insane stuff on camera on my birthday. And somebody sent that to me on purpose to try to like hurt me, because they knew that was my best friend and it was just so happened to be my birthday, and I was really worried about him at the time. And I got sent an insane amount of pictures and videos of him partaking in drugs and doing things that are unspeakable that I just flat out won't talk about on the air. So so it really sucks, but that's how I got into indoor skydiving, was because of one of my best friends of all time that ended up throwing his life away.
Yeah, that's tough. Drugs are tough. They'll get a hold of you and they'll make you a different person when you're high.
Yeah,
we
100%.
We gotta try to love people and hope they get help. That's all you can do.
Yeah, it sucks when they don't want the help though. When they don't see what's wrong, you know. That's what that's what hurt the most, was somebody just saying, you know, I'm not wrong. I'm doing what I can for me. And I'm like, no, you're doing the opposite of what you can for you.
Yeah, usually they'll have to hit a certain level of rock bottom before they want it. And you got to watch it happen, unfortunately.
Absolutely. Well, sorry to turn down the show for those of you that are watching or those of you that come by later to watch, but it's been a pretty emotional episode of Behind Them Sticks today.
It's real world stuff, man. It's authentic. It's everybody's going through some shit, man. Behind that gaming screen, everybody's got that thing. Everybody's got like what I had or like what you had or something else. We just all have to remember that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, that's all of the questions and stuff that I have for you today. The last thing I want you to do before I have you rattle off where they can find you and whatnot is I want you, or me, to go back to that gaming thought process, and I want you to tell me how you would describe gaming in just 3 words.
Really fucking awesome.
Damn. Stinkma in the chat, did you hear that?
Really fucking awesome.
She didn't waste any time.
Nope.
She didn't waste any time. She came, bow, bow, bow.
I don't even have to think about it.
She took care of business.
Goodness, gaming is really fucking awesome.
I mean, she let them shots ring though.
Boom.
Well, I really appreciate your time here, Crystal. It was a fantastic episode, an emotional one at that. We got a lot of thoughts and, you know, interpretations off of our chests throughout this episode. Please. Absolutely. And you're welcome back to be on another one of my shows. You know, got Bull Sitting on Fridays. And I also do another show with my buddy Matt Likes Games, Twan, Hard Days Mike, every Sunday, called The Game Drain, which is another fantastic show. but you're definitely more than welcome to come on either one of those shows. And in case you don't want to intrude, I will reach out to you when I have an available slot. Try to slide you up in there. Does that sound good?
Sounds good. That sounds awesome.
All right. Well, go on ahead and let everybody know where they can find you, and let's get up out of here.
Mostly Twitter and Instagram. You can find me at csmithshine, and then you'll find links in both that will take you to the playlist for where the Game Junkie show is located on YouTube. I know it's on like Spotify and Anchor and Apple something and Google something. I don't know exactly where that's at. If you want to know where it's at on the audio podcast version, you can always message me and I'll send you a bazillion and one links that I have.
Gotcha. Well, Silent Cypher in the chat wants to thank you, Crystal, for coming and hanging out.
Thank you for hanging out and watching and participating.
Absolutely. Silent Cypher is a stand-up guy. Appreciate him a lot. Check out his stuff.
Come to hit me up so I can find him and follow him and get to know him.
Absolutely. There you go. And I'm going to go ahead and plug him real quick as well. Silent Cypher, dope dude in the chat. He has Xbox International every Wednesday with Crazy Louie and Sour Blow. Man, I almost said Stank Blow because I'm thinking of Stank Ma in the chat. I don't think he would have liked that. Stank Blow. No, I'm just kidding. That sounds terrible. But anyways, yeah. Check out his show. They're a bunch of dope guys from all over the place. But yeah, definitely make sure you guys come back. Next week, I got, a couple more people coming on this show for Behind Them Sticks. And then, as you know it, on Fridays, I do Bullsitting with Loke and Cozy Beluga. Tomorrow, we're going to be having that show at 3 o'clock Central, 4 o'clock Eastern. Make sure you check that out. If you want to get a double dose of us, we're going to be doing a space an hour and a half before we go live. We've been doing that as of lately. We've been going and doing a space with just people in the Twitter community trying to, just grow our platform and drive drive the audience from over there to where we're at over here. So yeah, we do a space about 1:30 Central Time, 2:30 Eastern, and we just talk about some of the stuff that we couldn't fit into the show that we do, because we also try to make the Bullsitting show around an hour and 45 minutes to 2 hours. Sometimes it goes a little long if we have a guest or if there is just an abundance of news. So just make sure you guys stick out. Hit me up, HamSolo05 Gaming on Twitter if you want to chat or have any questions or whatnot. But this is your boy HamSolo05 Gaming and Chris D. Smith hollering at you on the TSWS Gaming YouTube channel. Make sure you guys keep it gaming or keep it moving. Peace out. Welcome to the Behind Them Sticks podcast, brought to you by TSWS Gaming.
Come and talk to me, Lennard Ray. That's your name. Come and talk to me. I just wanna have a conversation. No, I'm not your type, but baby, listen, I'm just saying. We can rule the world, just me and you, if you quit playing. Won't you take the chance with me and have that conversation? I just wanna have that conversation with you. Come and talk to me. I just wanna have that conversation with you. Look, see, we vibing and you know it's true. Baby, what it do? Do for me and I'ma do for you. No doubt about it, Boosie, I'm a Midwest king, looking for myself a queen. Ready to chase a dream with a dope self-esteem. You